About to the monthly, and as we can see on the monthly, we are basically closing right near the previous month's open as of yesterday. Right, the close was 5107 half. Previous month's open 5105 quarter. Right, we talked about that being a key level. You can see we're trading below it, and we're actually getting close to our weak zone. If you guys remember from Monday, below that 50-30, the market tends to be a bit weak, or kind of leans a little bit weak. So very kind of cautious opening here, but so far monthly um, is kind of uninformative, just because we're getting this gap down here and we're trading 50-34, so we're actually below the previous month's range at this time. Switching over here to the weekly, we were pretty much maintaining inside the previous week's range. You can see the previous week's low 50 or 40.99, 4991 quarter, still inside that, so still maintaining inside the previous week's range. This week's open 50-30 quarter, so we're only about 6 handles above that. Definitely going to be a level you want to be paying attention to, the 50-30 quarter week's open. And this week's low, that 50.06, 5006 level, definitely a key. If we start to break that, can unleash a bit of momentum and continuation to the downside. Switching over to the daily, you can see yesterday we finished as a +4 with that close, like we said, 5107 half. We are trading much below that, so typically you don't want to go against that. We got a +4, we're below the settle. Momentum has basically been reversed, and you're looking at a lot of momentum traders getting stopped out. As of right now, they started getting stopped out earlier. We can kind of look at it on the profile to get a better picture of it, or a clearer picture. But we get this, and what I think is the key here, when you get these pullback levels, and this is something that we talked about, right, that we could pull all the way back up to this trend line and still maintain this downtrend. So, definitely want to be cautious today. We did get a little bit of a bounce in the market, but today we're, selling off. It is a little bit news related, right? GDP, unemployment claims came out, market sold off. So bad odds, I guess. I don't really look at the report numbers, just the impulse levels. So something to pay attention to. On the daily, levels, right, we can kind of lock in this equilibrium here, 50-48, but we're below it. So we're going to look at the profiles. We're going to basically revert to what we looked at on Monday as our go, no go levels. Now, switching over here to the profiles, we can see we've traded back down into Monday's range, right? The 22nd. And Monday was separated by 2 distributions. So we had this upper distribution. Let's go ahead and get rid of pink, switch over to green. We had this upper distribution with a little bit of single prints, and then we had this lower distribution. Let's try to fit the whole thing in here. And this lower distribution. Okay, so today really it's going to be very similar to what we look for, right, or what we have been looking for. And I'm going to go back basically to this 50-30 level that we had, and below that level, that starts to show acceptance in this lower distribution and the odds start to increase. I think that we test lower, probably towards this weak spot here. Oh, what's up with this thing today? Jesus Christ. Okay. Which is around like 50, 15, we'll call it. Right. Acceptance above that area, or failure to really kind of confirm below that area, would probably put the market back into a chop range. And that range is basically going to be from 50 all the way down. Now this settle is old. We'll alleviate that in a second. All right, previous settle's up here somewhere. It's like 50.07. So we'll just go ahead and I'm just gonna erase this. And so basically, if the market cannot climb above that COT VPOC then it's going to be tough. And right, remember, there's a gap here as well. So you're really kind of playing off that gap, or understanding that if we can't get back into that range, then the market is looking fairly weak. And that gap's from all the way up here. So yesterday's low. I think there is opportunity, but these are real cautious longs here. Um, and they start to get a little bit more bullish, or a little bit more opportunity on them, or a little bit more confidence with them if we're above the prior month's low. So above the prior month's low, we look to trade a little bit higher, but still cautious inside there. And my reasoning behind this is just distribution theory, right? The auction market theory and acceptance or rejection. So we had talked about this. We moved lower, so we get kind of this imbalanced look, and then finally we run into this 2-day balance. We break out of the 2-day balance, try to find acceptance above, kind of get a failure, and we're right back to the center line of that balance. So acceptance under the 30 starts to put on the gas for the downside, and then we start testing this untouched VPOC. Remember, there's like a little CME gap here, that -4, last week's -4 close, which is the 0375. We never actually went back and touched that because short covering just started all the way up, right? And if we were to merge these profiles together, you can see it just, for the most part, is just a giant P shape. If you put on a longer time frame, you won't necessarily get this distribution. Definitely get volume, but for the most part, a P shape. And now that P shape has liquidated, and so we'll look to see, are we going to balance and start to form a B shape, or are we going to continue to get excess, right? Typically, the market doesn't always just kind of one tap and go V style, but definitely can. That's probably what a lot of people call this. This is a V style, but it really just it shoots up into a P after it kind of had broken down. Right, it stayed down here for an entire day. So I mean, you can call it what you want, but that is pretty much what we're going to be looking at today. And really, I think that key no-go level is going to be that 30. Acceptance below that 30 is I mean, it's just like we had on Monday, right? Monday we had talked about, if it gets above that 30, that we want to be careful. It got above the 30, started to move higher, got back to that, caught VPOC, and then even on Tuesday, easy trade, right? Very mechanical. And so that'll be kind of a key easy level today. But other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure you're managing risk and sticking to your trade plan, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.